The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Beneath the Cowl podcast, Cosplay Alliance, our partners and affiliates. This episode may contain coarse language and sensitive subject matters. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Beneath the Cowl. Tonight we've got a talented group of cosplayers and gamers here, and we got Smoke with his Helldiver helmet on. If you can't see, we'll go around. We'll go around and have everyone introduce themselves, starting from top left with Vladimir.
Hello everyone, thanks for having me. I'm Vladimir Stanchu, also go by Vincent in games. I'm a small-time cosplayer. I've cosplayed like back in the day, around 2 years ago. I've cosplayed the Itachi before. Now I'm just basically working with a small-time real estate company, and I game in my free time, and I'm looking to get into content creation as a hobby.
Nice. Then we've got Dom.
Hey, Dominican Knight. Also Dominican Knight on Instagram, and Dominican Knight actually on PlayStation Network. That's my little bread and butter. A long time gamer. Been cosplaying for a few years as well. I'm just excited to get into this conversation about these franchises because I got thoughts and I got opinions, and we're going to share them tonight.
Agreed. Myers. We have Myers on the right.
Myers Corp Cosplay out of Ontario, Canada. Super excited to be here. Been cosplaying for several years. I also have a podcast, Monday Night Nerd, every Monday night, where we talk about nerdy stuff. And I think tonight is going to be a lot of fun because I think we got some curveballs coming out of these different franchises. I think we have our ones that we know we're going to be on the list, but I think we're going to have some really fun ones. This is going to be good.
Yep.
Awesome. Then we've got the Helldiver below here.
Hey everyone, I'm Eric the Smoke Moran. Been cosplaying since the mid 80s. So yes, been cosplaying for a long time. I've been TV host. I also been acting, doing films, everything, former pro wrestler. I do it all. And I have a video game podcast with myself and three other great hosts for Passive Controller. In fact, our show will be on tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, and all around. You want to check me out? I'm on PlayStation Network, Jericho, Jerico 007. You can check me out. I'm hell diving almost every other night. And again, just having a lot of fun. And got a new movie coming out. We'll talk about that later anyway. But again, I'm glad to be here. I cannot wait to talk about our love for video games. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And I'm going to pass the ball to Miss Jamie.
Hi, my name is Jamie Bear Fancy Pants on almost everything. I'm a cosplayer, I'm an actress, and I'm an avid gamer. I grew up with two older brothers and a dad who is also a nerd. So it's been in my life and in my genes, basically. So I'm really excited to talk about everything.
Awesome. So
You're
we'll get
like
right
Bane.
into it. Sorry, what'd you say, Dom?
You're like Bane. You were. I was gonna say she's like Bane. She was born into the darkness. She wasn't. She's like Bane.
We'll get the ball rolling and hit the top 6 to 10 if we can. Starting off with number 10. So I know it's going to be a long night, and we all have our own lists. Let's try our best to agree on the top 10 that makes everyone happy.
So I just want to say I'm looking at actually some of the lists because that's the thing is that we, outside of this, we shared our own lists of things of games and stuff like that. Yeah. And there were a couple of consistents and a couple of things that were sort of like deviations and stuff like that. I've got to say overall, I want to say the one that's a couple of that have stuck out to me have been like the God of War series. I feel like everybody here has at least added that to their list. The Red Dead one that they've added to their list. So with that being said, actually, so if everybody collectively agreed that those are two franchises, or let's say like of the franchises, would they automatically cream up to the top, or would they actually start in the middle?
They're pretty much in my top 5. I don't know about everyone else's, but they're in my top 5.
I would go on the same idea, yeah.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, they're in my top 5 as well.
it's kind of hard for Red Dead for me because it's basically 3 games but only 2. I don't think a lot of
Right.
people played the Red Dead Revolver or whatever before that one.
Mhm.
Well, actually, on a technicality, it's 4 because with Red Dead Revolver, you also have Undead Nightmare. So really, you
Mm.
could actually set it to 4 if you wanted to go down
Yeah.
that route. So
Mm.
I think Red Dead, for me personally, Red Dead got me through the pandemic. That game came out, and I spent so many hours, playing Red Dead Live because I was able to go out without having to go outside because they did such a phenomenal job of the renderings and the backgrounds and and all of it. Like all of it felt like
Yeah.
you were immersed in that world. So I mean, personally, for me, Red Dead and God of War sort of fighting for that first and second spot
I have
right
a
now.
hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think to me personally, Red Dead is a way better game than GTA.
Yes, I agree.
I would say that too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It is interesting though, like to go back in the day of the time of GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and then kind of the balls of Rockstar to be like, we're gonna put everybody on horses.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's such a weird concept. And I remember seeing pictures of it and going like, what is this? And then it being, like you said, way better. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't mind that it's taking me 3 days of real time to walk across a map. This is actually really fun. So
Yeah,
So
it is.
I want to throw in another game that would be in the top 5, if I may, and I think a lot of people would probably agree with this: the Batman Arkham series games,
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt.
because
Yeah.
it set the tone for a
Influential,
lot of
too.
other superhero games and other action games to follow. Especially the way the setup is when you have a whole bunch of characters on the same screen and you're fighting them like 10, 20, and it elevated like each game elevated to the next level. Each Batman Arkham game, the storyline was compelling, the villains were compelling. Just overall.
Do you put Gotham Knights into that as well?
I wouldn't put Gotham Knights to
I was
me
gonna say.
because it's basically from a different universe. It's not.
Right.
It's definitely not in
It's
the same
not, yeah.
game.
That's right.
I would say Arkham Origins. Yeah, it's more or less like definitely I would go with Arkham Origins, and that's one of those games that, originally when it came out, people were not on board with it. But then as time went on, it became a hit because you had Deathstroke in it. You had a lot of other characters, and it was starting off with Batman. Even though there were some inconsistencies, but no one cared. No one cared. And the voice acting was superb because it wasn't Conroy or Mark Hamill. And so, again, that's one of those games. So I include that with the Arkham series. I don't include Suicide Squad, and I don't include Gotham Knights. Those are the wicked stepchildren of the Batman universe. But yeah, the Arkham series, it's up there with the top 5 for me.
I was going to say, Smoke, and I think the other thing actually that I appreciate about those games is that, and similarly to Spider-Man, because Spider-Man was on my list, the Spider-Man, the Insomniac Spider-Man. Those games are as comic book fans, you and I are. I mean, I think a lot of us are comic book fans. There's no game that makes you feel like Batman like the Arkham games. Like you feel like such a badass. You feel like you were just like jumping, especially in those scenes where you're just like in those missions where you're having to like stealthily take people out. I mean, that's top tier. That is a comic book fans.
But the producers, I mean the developers really thought about the fans, and this is where I go back to gamers, where you have developers that really respect the gamers. They put out so much content for the whole Batman Arkham series. You have the last Batman game, Batman Arkham City. You had every Batman you were going to play as, whether you're playing on PC or regular console. You have almost every Batman mod or skin that you could think of. Every Robin skin. I mean, from the animated series to the movies, up all the way up to the current movie, the Batman movie, and they were still putting out content. And this game has been well over 10 years. So again, they were enough where they put the content out, DLC content that was free, and not only just as cosmetics for the Batmobile, You had different little mini stories and everything else. To me, it's top tier. Like the Arkham series overall is top tier. I forgive them for Suicide Squad. They're allowed to have.
Have you played the Telltale series, Smoke?
Which
the
one?
Batman one, the Telltale series.
Oh yeah, and I love those. Anything they put out with the Telltale, anything they put out, whether it's Walking Dead, Star Trek, I'm all on board with it.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
Game of Thrones, yep. Yeah.
So anyone watching live right now or watching after, because this list is not going to be a general list of what people have. This is going to be our personal list. So I don't want to upset anyone. So disclaimer out there. Drop your top 10 in the comments below. Let me know. Let us know what your top 10 is. But are we going based on popularity, based on sales, or are we just going personal?
I think overall, it has to me, would have to meet the criteria of a game that everyone is still playing. That generally everyone is on board with, but also, it doesn't matter. It's like what people fail to realize. It didn't matter how well the games were doing up until the last couple of years, where they're like, well, this game made $1 million, just like the movie industry. This movie made instead of the quality of what people like, what gamers truly like. If the gamers like the independent game that came out that didn't make that much money, but everyone loves the game, they rally behind the game. To me, that's more relevant, and to me, in my opinion, anyway, it's more relevant, and people tend to show a lot of love, even to the current day. When you look at some of these games online, you see YouTube, and you see some of these great games online that came out back in 2000, 2012, over 10 years ago, and people are still playing it, and people are still coming out with creative mods, and people are still cosplaying characters from said game. That speaks to me in volume. So I don't
cultural impact, pretty much.
Right, exactly.
Cultural impact, yeah.
I mean, and not for nothing. Like I'll say this again. Like Helldivers is having that same effect. It's bringing you back to a time when gaming was just fun, and it wasn't about how much money we're going to make off this game. And hey, let's put out a $70 game or $100 game, and you get this much DLC for $30, and then you wait for a couple months, it'll be $10. Come on, again, I like the idea. Like I don't care for the practices of gaming companies of late, especially when they're not thinking about the gamers. And I know I'm saying a lot, but it's just when it comes to, I've said this before, I have a lot to say about the gaming industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there's more ugly than good. So, and again, it can't be helped. It can't be helped. As an avid gamer who's been gaming since the '80s, who has the first Atari, one of the few people that still owns an Atari, ColecoVision, and then television.
Right.
Yeah, I can say that.
So
Helldivers is doing a great thing right now. It's very, very consumer friendly. Like you can definitely see that, and that they love the game that they're making. But I do think that even with all of this goodwill, their main objective is still to make money. Nobody can deny that. But they are showing much more goodwill, much more interest of interacting with the community and getting feedback and making the game better to provide a much better experience for the players than most any other game out there right now.
Agree, and that's what. But again, I don't dismiss that. All gaming companies are going to make their money. But it's just like you said, it's about respecting the community, respecting the gamers. For those people who remember G4 and all, I mean, I was at a lot of these game premieres. When Gears of War came out, I got a chance to hang out with Cliffy B. I'm wearing the Gears armor and all this stuff. When G4 was out, and we're talking about early 90s, when games were just like at the peak of everything, and everyone was like, oh my God, there's a nuance. And it was a new renaissance of video games and the love of video games. Everybody wanted, whether it was GoldenEye 64, Nintendo 64, whether it was PlayStation, portable PlayStation, Nintendo. You had the Nintendo Wii. I mean, again, I cannot. But they respected the gamers. It's like now. It's like they think, like you said, they think less of gamers and more about the profit.
Exactly.
So I agree.
It's the whole thing. We had this conversation actually in one of our other episodes before about sort of like how it's become like fast food for consuming media. That's what it is. It's like, let's go ahead and actually, how do we go ahead and actually take you and say, hey, this is the Big Mac, but if you want some lettuce, you got to get this. And if you want that tomato, you got to get this, or you got to, and that's sort of how they it is with the gaming.
I also
but
think,
going back to actually to
yeah. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say going back. I was gonna answer. Go back to your question. I think cultural impact is actually probably the biggest thing for me to sort of really say, hey, this is a game that stands the test of time. Because you take a game like, for example, the Arkham series, where they weren't the first to do like the X-ray vision sort of detective mode, but they fine-tuned it to the point where other games now there's a fine-tuning sort of like, oh, you want to sneak around, here's your detective mode, here's your stuff like that. And actually you can see those influences in other games. Similar actually, I would say, to God of War. God of War is actually one that, as a beat 'em up action adventure, I mean, its influence is felt. And I love the fact that actually that specific game evolved with its and grew up with its audience. Like that game, from playing it from when I was playing it back in the early aughts to now, I will tell you that, man, the emotional gravitas of that game and like what it did is amazing to me, and that they actually considered people who were playing it that were, hey, they were in their 20s, or their teens or their 20s, and now they have kids, and then they go ahead and they introduce this character's kid, and and they understood their audience. And that's another piece of it, is that you grew with your audience. That's indelible. That's a really hard thing to sort of top. So I think in those two specific things, I think those are really important to say, hey, this is a top game, because that's the mark that it left in the industry.
And shout out to Jamie. Jamie, I love your collection. I know. I'm like, hey, PS5, PS4. I noticed your collect, and also the collectibles. I'm like, okay, Matt respect. Jamie.
Thank you.
Matt respect.
I think as well, like the consumer has changed as well. As you were saying, Mo, the whole McDonald's thing is like, back in the day, a lot of people went to McDonald's as a treat. You know what I mean? Now people go to McDonald's all the time. So similar to like back then, a lot of kids were outside playing. We came inside to play video games as a treat, right? But now more kids are inside playing video games, and going outside is a treat. You know what I mean? So it's I feel they're just capitalizing on the market, and kids want to have better gear than the other kids and stuff like that. So this is where Fortnite and games like that kind of came in and capitalized on that.
COVID played a big part in that too.
Yeah.
Because we were all stuck indoors and everything. I mean, God, remember if everybody forgot how PlayStation 5, when it first came out, we had to fight to get a PlayStation. Oh my God, that was
and they're already announcing the PS6 already.
I'm like,
please.
And some people don't have the 5.
Isn't the PS5 Pro should be coming out probably sometime next year, I think. They were talking about a PS5 Pro. I'm like, God,
that's early. Isn't it supposed to be like a 7-year lifespan for one console?
Yeah.
Oh, they're shortening it. Yeah, they.
Wow. Okay, I did not know that.
That hurts my soul.
Money.
All right, so
but they're not going to solve it by.
Sorry, go ahead, Vlad. Go ahead, Vlad.
No, I was just going to say, they're not going to solve the problem that they have if they just launch a new console. The problem that PlayStation right now has is the lack of games on the console. Lack of, as much as I am I love the idea of not having console exclusives, I will have to say, if you do not have console exclusive, your platform is going to die. I'm mostly a PC player. I'm going to be like, yes, bring your games to me. I don't care. Like, this is the best thing ever for me. But, that's most likely going to be a very negative thing for your platform if you do that.
Xbox is kind of already doing that themselves. I mean, with exception of their showcase they just had, Xbox hasn't been on the best of terms with gamers either. So Xbox is doing their share of shooting themselves in the foot, buying all these great companies, but yet not utilizing them the way they should.
Yeah.
Yes, but they are offering another service through the Xbox Game Pass, which basically allows a lot of players to see what they have on offer, and it's actually a very decent price point with huge value. Huge value. You have hundreds of games at your disposal with just a small price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. I just don't care for their practices and how they treat game companies, especially these game companies. Like they're buying all these companies, which I think is awesome. But on the other hand, they're like, okay, well, we bought these companies now because of money situation. We got to lay off this company. You had Hi-Fi Rush, which was doing awesome. It was one of the best. And then you're going to close down the company because
that was a mistake.
And they kind of they kind of turned around and kind of went back against what they said. They were like, well, we're all about, getting brand new companies and all. But you had a brand new company that made quota, that made this really great game, got awards and all. And then you said, oh, we're looking for games that can really make awards and do awards for us. Really? Come on.
The thing is that Hi-Fi Rush succeeded despite Xbox's attempts. Because they launched it silently. There was no commercials anywhere, no trailers shown off. Like there was no fanfare for that launch. It just launched silently, and it was an absolute gem.
Yes,
and it still did well. It still went beyond expectations.
Between games like that and Hades, I love games like that. They're like really small companies, the engine that could, and it blows up like the game. You're like, it's a hidden gem. Helldivers. Like no one, like you said, there was no real push for it. It had delays, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's like, wow! I love companies like that. I love supporting gaming companies like that because
those are the games that have all the passion now.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
yes,
Jamie.
exactly.
Go ahead, you were saying?
Oh
no, Jamie was talking.
No, the smaller companies, all the indie games, those are the developers that have the passion to make games for gamers. So those definitely are the gems, and I think a lot of times they're ignored for AAA games.
Exactly,
because people think that's where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
Little do they realize.
I'm gonna throw number 10 out there. It's gonna be a general one, just for the sake of throwing it out there. But it's just I'm gonna lump it all together. It's gonna be sport games. I'll put NFL, NBA, FIFA.
Yeah.
Because I was literally gonna say FIFA,
but
I was gonna say FIFA, but I feel like they all deserve to be in there together. For number
so you're
10.
saying number 10 is all sports games, all
I would say so because you could pretty much put on a NHL game even if you don't know anything about hockey and have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, like the 2K game.
I do find it interesting. Yeah. I do find it interesting. Those games are the quickest games to lose value. My God, you buy one of those games and it's like driving a car off a lot. You drive it off the lot and it's immediately devalued.
But how many times
I don't know how many times I've got.
How many times do you have like a friend over and you like, oh, let's put on like a fighting game or let's put on a sports game, even though you don't really play it. Like I have like sports games that I never play, but if someone comes over, like, okay, let's play some FIFA.
If I have actually fighting games, usually the. Right, that's my choice is usually like a fighting game. Like that's usually what I'll go with, that or a party game.
For fighting games, I think we need to be more specific.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's its own, but Anthony, that's its own episode. We could sit here for days.
True.
Just on fighting games.
So do you want to put sports games on number 10 and leave it at 10?
Yeah, I would agree. I agree.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 8.
I went a little. I went a little bit more specific on the number 10, which was basically on my list at least. It's because I'm a single player guy and I mostly play for the story. And on my list, like the Devil May Cry series was basically on the number 10 spot.
Oh, is it Devil May Cry?
Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
I've never played that.
Okay.
I have to get
that. Well, I would suggest you do. That way, you get to feel motivated.
So along with that, I'm going to throw in Metal Gear Solid series. Okay.
I agree. It's on my list. I agree.
I got a chance to talk with, get pictures with, and get a chance. So I'm going to tell you right now, David Hayter is another person that freaking love interviewing, talking with. I'm telling you right now, if you never played Metal Gear Solid, you're truly doing yourself a disservice. From PlayStation, we're talking about all the way even Nintendo. If you like any gamer, that should be a recommend. That should be a part of gaming. If you're a gamer, you need to play certain key games, and that's one of those games you need to play. Everybody needs to play at least one of those games, whether it's Metal Gear 1,
I want to tell
Beyond, whatever.
I want to tell a story about Metal Gear Solid and how it changed my life. I missed out on a couple of days of work because of Metal Gear Solid. I got that game. I had the PlayStation 1, and I did not. I remember calling in. I remember playing the first mission and being like, "Yeah, I can't come in."
Listen, I'm going to take it back even further. When PlayStation Magazine was out, they put out a demo for Metal Gear, the first Metal Gear, on PlayStation 1. Yeah, and I remember getting it, and I played it to death. Watched the trailers to death. And again, like it was one of those games that I had to own, I had to play, and I played it till it was like the cows were coming home. And it was before Kojima put out a game that was before its time. That for the Metal Gear series, they broke fourth walls. They did so. They talked about current events in the past, dealing with history and everything else. And it was, and also the crazy thing was, it was set in the future. It was set like. When the game came out, it was set like in the early 1998 and all. Oh, yes.
Damn, the original.
Yes.
This is my baby. This is my baby right here. We committed to each other. We love each other so much. This is the game. This is the one.
Came into Metal Gear Solid much later.
Yeah, it was one of those games that
it was basically with the HD collection. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I have, and the crazy thing is, I have the HD. That's the 4th or 5th version of the Metal Gear series. I have when they did remakes and all. With the new Delta coming out. Oh, I'm totally cannot wait.
So you're saying Metal Gear goes in top 5, or you want to put it
top 5? I would definitely put. Well, no, I would be in the top 10. Metal Gear would have to be in the top 10. Because you have so many other top tier video games, but Metal Gear, I would say, definitely in the top 10. Definitely.
So you want to put it? You want to put it at what? 7?
7, yes. I agree.
Are you guys okay with a 7 for Metal Gear? Myers,
I don't know. Me personally, top 5.
Mine is higher. I would put it on a 5.
The only reason why I'm saying 7 because we know there's other games out there that like we haven't even begun to scratch the surface. So I'm giving it. I'm being fair. I'm being realistic. And I'm saying 7, not because, I want to have a low number. If it was up to me, it'd be in the top 5. But we know, but we're also thinking about games that reinvented the whole genre of video games and how we looked at it. And for me, when PlayStation put out Metal Gear 1, or we like to think of Metal Gear Solid, that game changed the face of video games to me. I was so happy to be a part of that whole era because of the fact that when that game came out, and I mean there was no other game made like that was 360 degrees and you're doing it from first person overhead and all and you had these bigger than life characters. Again, it was a top tier adventure game. So I don't want to say, oh well, yeah, Metal Gear is the top 5. I want to say it was the top 5, but 7 is being fair.
Smoke. Can I make an argument for you? Can I come in and try to convince you, bring you to the dark side of it? All right. This is one of the only games actually at its time that was so revolutionary that it took things like, for example, I don't know if you guys remember this. If you wanted to contact Liquid Snake when he was actually impersonating the guy, you had to go to the box and actually get his actual codex from there. You couldn't just they would tell you got to call him. You had to go to the box to get it. Not to mention the fact that at one point when you're playing actually against, I'm forgetting on all the names.
You're talking about Octopus.
Yes.
Psychomantis, I think.
Psychomantis. You had to play against Psychomantis. You had to change your controller out. I mean, that is next level. Like that is breaking the fourth wall, next level gaming that Hideo Kojima just did a complete total mind F on everybody. That's the reason why I say this is a top 5, baby.
Okay,
top 5, baby.
I say top 5.
The best part is the fact that they kept it even in the HD collection,
Yeah.
I came late into it, but they still forced me to look on the box for the codec code, and also still on the PlayStation 3, I still had to change my controller to fight Psycho Mantis. Otherwise, there was no fucking way I would go in there.
I'm trying to make a list.
Okay, you want me over on that? No, you want me. Yeah, because when you really think about it, you're breaking the fourth wall, and everyone played different video games at that time. When you have Psycho Mantis saying, you're playing Mario Brothers. And so
Yes.
How'd you hell? And because they're reading our card and all that stuff, that's beyond breaking the fourth wall. So yeah.
Oh
Because
my
that
God.
game, there was no other game that did that. No other game that did that.
I remember when that scene happened, and I was just sort of like, I sat there and I'm like, what is this? Like, what's going on? Like, what is reality right now? How is this game telling me what I'm playing? Like, this is not right.
The screen goes black, and you think something's wrong with the TV. And you're like, what the hell? The TV was, And those, back in the day, they had, when the televisions were not flat screen, and you had the little big TVs, we were sitting there like, what the hell just happened? I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden, I had to go back and we didn't have YouTube like we do now. We didn't have we had to get a book. We had to get a gamer's guide book. I still own my gamer guide books, man. Are you kidding me?
We want to welcome Gotham Geek just joined.
Hey guys, my bad. I just got home.
Hey,
What's up?
Yeah, so we're working on the top 10.
You won that one, Dom.
We're working on top 10, so we came to.
I just wanted to bring you to the dark side with me, with me, Smoke. I just wanted you with me here, because I know you my boys. You my. That's my senpai right there, man. That's my dude right there.
So we're putting Metal Gear
model
my
stuff after that guy.
Yeah,
Metal Gear is going at 5, right?
Yep.
Okay.
How you doing it? Like, if we say a game, like, and most people agree.
Yeah, we're basically doing it off of like a multitude of things. Cultural impact. You know, I'm not really going on sales and stuff like that. I'm just
Yeah.
We mentioned.
I'm pretty sure Mario would be at number 1 if we're looking at cultural impact.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to argue.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to argue. I can make a somewhat convincing argument that actually Zelda actually beats it, but it's very very like
niche.
It's a thin argument at best.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to argue against the guy that is a franchise that has made other franchises.
Yeah, I think we might.
Well,
We will have people in the comments saying stuff if we don't put Mario number 1.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
But also
Mario as a franchise.
It's not my number 1, but I'm sure it's a lot of people's number 1.
Yeah. So far we mentioned the Arkham series.
Hell yeah, that's on mine.
Okay, so number 9. What do you want to go? Someone throw something out and let's see where it sticks.
Kingdom Hearts.
All right, I'll throw one at. Oh
no, Final Fantasy.
Ooh, Final Fantasy.
Ooh.
I would say Uncharted.
Yeah, Uncharted's in my top 3.
Damn, Uncharted. Yup, that's a good one too.
How about Mass Effect? Because Mass Effect.
Wait, hold on. So let's focus on one first, and let's do the pros and cons. So let's the first one thrown out. Let's start with actually Kingdom Hearts. So Kingdom Hearts, what's the pros? What's the cons to make it actually like to get it to anywhere on the list? Personally, for me, I'm just gonna start. I've never played Kingdom Hearts. I mean, take my geek card if you want.
I've never played it.
It's not my cup of tea neither.
It's not my cup of tea. So that's. But
I've played it.
I tried it, but
it didn't make me want to come back and replay value like Final Fantasy 7. I'm gonna be honest.
All right, let's throw one out there.
I'm pretty sure.
It doesn't hold.
No, I'm pretty sure this is a situation where if you missed the train on Kingdom Hearts and didn't play it when it came out back all the way on the PlayStation 2, I think you've missed out in the sense that you can't go back at 30 years of age and play Kingdom Hearts again and have that same magic. Like for me, playing Kingdom Hearts back in the day when I was still with my sister, and I stole her TV so I could hook it up to the PlayStation, and I played Kingdom Hearts for the entire night. She went to bed and found me awake at 9 a.m. in the morning. That was very different from me because I I grew up on Disney, and I just got into anime, and it was basically like Disney and anime all in the same place. That is like my favorite thing in the world. It's like mixing, I don't know, pizza and French fries or
Chocolate
something.
and peanut
Yeah, egg. There you go. Thank you very much. Peanut butter and jam. Thank you. That's the one.
Jam, yes.
I don't think it'll be on the top. I don't know. For me personally, it's not on my top 10. But if you guys want to put it on,
I would say Final Fantasy VII more than Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I would say Final Fantasy. I think. Final Fantasy.
Even though Kingdom Hearts means like a lot to me personally, I would definitely, if we're choosing between Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, I would choose Final Fantasy.
Where do you want to put Final Fantasy on the list? 8?
Ooh.
11.
No.
I don't play Final Fantasy, but I would even put it at a 6. I would put it at 6 because I think it's so influential.
Yeah,
I would put it on 2 because of the MMO. Because 14 has one of the best fantasy stories ever told, at least in my opinion. Like you have to go through the expansions.
Let's take a vote. So it's between 6 and 2.
I said 9.
I say 6.
Yeah,
I say 6.
I mean, it's not. It's not.
I'll go 6.
For
It's
me,
in
but I
my top
respect
5, but
game.
Yeah, I say 6.
Game recognized game, man. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, right quick. Sorry to go back, but for sports, is that like 2K?
Everything.
Like
I lumped
going back to
together.
like
Yeah.
I'm talking like
2K.
Cool Borders, 2K,
NBA Jam.
NBA Jam, NBA Street. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so there's a game that I think that deserves to be on here, but I'm not sure how popular it is anymore. It's Call of Duty.
I would say yeah.
Not for me. Definitely not for me. It doesn't even make the list for me.
No.
Doesn't make the list for me either, but I
don't you not think?
I would have to say
I think
in the category.
Impact,
If we're going to say category, it would have to be in the first-person shooter range because in that you have Wolfenstein, you got Doom, you got Quake, you got Unreal.
True. Oh,
so I would say as a conglomerate like sports, I would say in the first-person shooter because when you think about that, that's all a part of the first-person shooter genre. So yeah, I would say first-person.
FPS for where?
I would put that at 8.
I'm good with 8. I'm good with 8.
For first-person shooters, 8.
I'm good with 8.
yeah.
I think it is it's very influential.
But do we want to like get into that though? Because then we have like games like kind of like Far Cry that is the first person as well too. That have a lump with Call of Duty. You know what I mean?
But I think
now we're getting into criteria. It's like if
well,
you don't
no, but here's what
I'd rather not put Call of Duty at all on here.
Because you got to think about it like this. The audience is going to be like, well, this first person, that first person. So if you're combining all the first person games, like I said, like Wolfenstein, like Doom, like Duke Nukem, like those games, set the tone for first person shooters way back when.
But then you would have to put that in top 5 for sure.
I think influence for especially online. I think Call of Duty deserves to be on the list.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Call of Duty. I think to put it like this, I look at Call of Duty like I look at Kleenex. When you get a tissue and you blow your nose, you don't say hand me the Charmin or whatever. You say specifically hand me the Kleenex. When people talk about, and you guys are laughing, but I'm dead serious. There's something to be said about such a cultural impact that when you think about actually, like you could talk about any kind of search engine, Jeeves, Ask Jeeves, Microsoft, but what's the phrase that people say when they say look up something? They say Google it because it's part of the lexicon. So Call of Duty is that. Call of Duty, when you talk about actually a shooter, you're most people you can like, I think actually to your point, actually Smoke, like Doom is one that I wish actually can go higher, but I think unfortunately Call of Duty changed the game, and that's the reason why it would be that.
Well, I mean, when you had Saving Private Ryan came out, it put Call of Duty really on the map because it was basically mirroring of everything that happened within Saving Private Ryan. So, I mean, of course, I'm saying it's going to be in the top 10. It would have to be like around, me personally, and someone who served in the military, I would say around 7 or 8. 7 or 8.
I was going to put it at 9, just to put it there.
I was your first. I was going to go with your first thing, which was 8, which I thought actually that's where I thought it would land. But I'm good with whichever.
Yeah, I say 9. I say 9. I agree.
if we're going after like what was the most impactful in history, then yeah, maybe. But if we're talking like the best video game franchise of all time, I think the criteria should be something around the like when you combine story, gameplay, music, all of these aspects that create one amazing experience. And like, sure, we can put it on 8, but for me, if we're going by that criteria, I don't think Call of Duty makes the list. I think there are much better experiences in gaming that can make this list.
Well,
I don't know, but
I would agree with
for me
you.
personally, I spent countless nights playing Call of Duty with my friends, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very hard. It's a
Right.
very hard thing. I'm
Yeah,
not
no, I
saying the
get
new
that.
ones, but like the older Black Ops 1. I was up all night playing. It was when they had, especially had the clan stuff on the phone, and you had clan wars and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, fair.
Vlad, I
It
was
was
going to say,
better back
I'm
in
with
the
you.
day.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Call of Duty. I'm not a first-person shooter either. But if going based on the criteria you're saying right now, a game I would put that's in my top 10 list that I know is not going to be in this top 10 list at all, and it's not because it's like a deep cut or anything like that. It's Legacy of Kain. Legacy of Kain hit all of that. Amazing voice acting, great music.
My brother.
Are we best friends now?
We are best friends now. Literally, my top number one game series, Legacy of Kain. I cannot wait to see someone make a remake, a remaster, whatever.
Oh my
I
God,
just want to
yes.
see that game again because it was amazing.
It was, and that story was tough. I mean, my God, the voice acting, the music, the pathos, the mythos, all of it was so good. But again, here's the thing: I understand as a gamer that's not actually one that everybody's familiar with. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it's shown its age. But if you are into retro gaming, do yourself a favor and find a way to play those games because they are so.
What system was that on?
It was on PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Yeah,
Okay.
PlayStation 1, 2, because they split up one of the games where they sequel baited you, which was the biggest FU they did, was they put part 1 in PlayStation 1 and didn't release part 2 until PlayStation 2. And you were just like, you mother effers.
Yeah. The thing is that if you have an issue right now and you want to play the game, you can find the entire Legacy of Kain series on Steam. So there's absolutely nothing stopping you from playing those games.
Highly recommend.
But if we're comparing gaming to literature, I think Legacy of Kain would be the Shakespeare of gaming without any issues.
God, yes.
The way the script was written, the characters, they had so much development and such a shocking and tragic storyline when you think about it.
Yes.
But the characters were amazing. Like Michael Bell as Raziel was phenomenal. Simon Templeman as Kain, again, phenomenal. I forgot the name of the actor who was playing the Elder God, but again, another memorable.
Something J. I can't remember, but he played he was in the Hunchback. He played actually I want to say Frodo. It's
no, the priest, yes. The adoptive father. Yes.
Yes.
Frollo. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes. I wanted to say Frodo for some reason. Frollo.
He was amazing.
Tony J. Amazing voice actor. Such a beautiful that man could read the phone book. And it's just like you stay there and you be like, yeah, man, that's exactly where that guy lives is on Maple Street. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right, Tony J. Rest in peace, Tony J.
I played it. Yeah, may he rest in peace. I played and replayed that series so many times. I still know the dialogues from the cutscenes by heart. Like if you were to make me talk between have the dialogue between Raziel and Kain in the Chronoplash chamber, I can recite it by heart with no issues.
Nice.
Now we know what.
Oh my god!
Yo, let's go! That is.
Damn, I sold all my PlayStation 1 shit.
I am impressed. I am very impressed.
Oh my god!
That is a nice collection.
One game we forgot to put in, even though we already kind of talked about it, the Batman Arkham series.
Arkham series, yeah. I want to put those in the top 5, somewhere in the top 5.
It has to.
4.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Spider-Man would not exist without it.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
I agree on 4. I agree on 4.
Yeah, 4 is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree on 4. Myers, you want to toss one out there?
I'm going to throw out the curveball that I put in my list because it died, but new generation's bringing this back. I got to go with Guitar Hero.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Because there's a whole
Wow.
generation that grew up with that, and then it
Yep.
went away. But now you got a new generation with Fortnite bringing it back.
God.
True.
So I got to
my
go
God,
with Guitar
right.
Hero.
I mean, God, I remember how man. And you talk about, and that time, licensed music wasn't really big, so you had a lot of licensed music. I think the only one you couldn't get your hands on was any Prince song, but pretty much any other song you could pretty much play on Guitar Hero, which was before, again, another game that was before its time. Oh my God! And then you came out with the drum set. Remember the drum set?
Yeah, there was
Oh my
there is a
God.
huge.
God.
I was
backup.
well. I was gonna.
DJ Hero. I was nasty with
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna ask. So in that specific scenario, do we lump those games like Guitar Hero, or Rock, Rock Band?
Yeah.
Do we put those into one? And dare I say, don't stone me for this, but even the dance games, like, would they be all sort of in that same
I would say
thing,
the dance
or-
one would be separate because the dance
Okay.
had to be separate because remember the dance games were all the way. You were going all the way back in to Japan and everything when you had the dance machines and all. And remember, there's movies. I mean, Scott Pilgrim and movies like that where you had the dance machines and everything. So you see it in movies all the time and everything else. So that's its own category.
What genre is Guitar Hero?
Recreational
Rhythm
Like-
game.
Rhythm
rhythm
game.
games.
Yes,
Yeah.
rhythm game.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me get a question here before we finish this list off too fast. What is your major pet peeve in video games? Because I got one. I want to know what your pet peeve.
Oh, you talking about current or in the past?
Anything.
Microtransactions.
Developers are overcharging on games like when you're pre-ordering a game and you get a 3-day, early 3-day, and you're charging over $100 for a game, Suicide Squad, where they were trying to sham us and everything else, and I didn't appreciate that too much, especially when I was supporting that game. So yeah, I don't like it when game developers or game companies try to pimp out gamers and trying to get bleed as much money out of us as they can. Then have the nerve for the game not to be good. If you're going to at least pimp me, at least give me a kiss and at least give me a really good game.
At least touch me on the shoulder in the morning before you leave. Don't just screw me and just walk away.
I mean, if you really want me to be bluntly honest, again, I say this, like, I know with Star Wars, I use Star Wars Outlaws as an example. Because of the history with Survivor and everything else, I'm like, okay, I know that they're going to put out a good game.
Yeah.
Do I want to pay almost $200 for exclusive stuff and all? No, I can wait for the game to drop in price. Right. But by that time everybody will divulge everything in the game. But I just don't like the practices of lately people getting more greedy. And the most thing I hate more than anything, and you can agree with me on this, and I know a lot of you will, is I hate that now you don't get a lot of physical copies. I believe in owning my copy of a game. I'm a physical game owner. I don't like all these. I don't mind it if it's independent game, but all these game developers now like, oh yeah, we want you to download the game. I'd rather physically own my copy. Look at Alan Wake. Alan Wake 2, great game. I downloaded it, and then all of a sudden they announced, oh, we saw how everybody was sending me pictures and how they want to own it. So we're going to come out with the game where you can physically own the game. How about this? Give us the physical game when it comes out originally. Don't double charge us, because now those people that love, like me, that love to own physical copies are going to now go out of their way and pay an extra $70, $60 to get that game when they already had to download it. So, yeah, that's my pet peeve.
Yeah, same thing with Baldur's Gate.
Yes.
Remember that time before 2015 when games were like $60 and they said that when you go full download it's not going to cost as much, and now we're still downloading most games, and now it's like $70.
Yeah.
And it's the same price.
No, the price went up. It's $70 now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is $100 to play a couple days early for $100.
I have a question. So, most of you live in the U.S. I'm assuming, right? So
Yes.
when you order,
Yes.
well, I don't know if you guys buy digital games, but do you guys get charged taxes on the video on digital games?
I think so. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think
I
so.
don't know if I've ever looked at that.
Because there was a point
yes,
where we never got
PlayStation
charged
does.
taxes.
PlayStation does. They don't charge a large tax, but they charge tax.
Yeah,
They do.
I would
I
say.
don't live in the US, but I do pay tax, yes.
government. I mean, like your government.
Oh, you're talking
I'd
about
have to-
overseas? People
yeah,
overseas?
Yeah, because I think we get charged here.
We do.
Our government charges us for digital games and stuff.
Yep.
Sales
I don't
tax,
know.
yeah.
I'd have to would have
Pay
to look at it.
attention.
Maybe somebody in the comments can put actually in the comments, hey, if you pay taxes on your digital downloads. I wanted to go back to your question though, Anthony, about pet peeves when it comes to games. I think actually microtransactions already, and sort of like all of that stuff was already covered. I think actually in the gaming itself, there's certain things I feel like I wish they would get rid of. Like, like tropes. Tropes are the things actually that I feel like sometimes you're just like, I can sort of see their purpose, but at the same time, I'm sort of done with it. Like, the if you're gonna do a detective mode, be creative with it. Like, don't just give me the same sort of like, oh, you can see through walls. Like, if you're playing The Last of Us, and that's supposed to be a gritty, real thing. The last thing you do is want to hit whatever mode and be able to see through a wall. That's not reality. You're not going to see through a wall. So I wish they come up with creative ways to do it. Like Ghost of Tsushima actually, I think, did a good job of sort of like the overhead, where they actually, like, whenever you needed to guide you, you would have the wind sort of like pick up and you could see where the wind was going. Come up with creative ways. That's all I'm saying, is like come up with different ways to sort of do the HUD system. If and base it on the genre that you're doing. Don't just do a basic computerized HUD system that doesn't really sort of doesn't really match well with the game. Like that would be that's one pet peeve that I have, is like get away from some of those tropes. Just let's be creative.
Jamie,
I'd like to interject here if possible. Since
Yeah.
you were mentioning this pet peeve, I have the solution for you. It's a game called Shadows of Doubt, where they actually went and made like a very small voxel-based game. It's an indie game. And you actually play as a detective, where you get to find like clues and stuff, and you have your own clue board, and you're gonna have to like think about things, like the evidence that you
Nice.
find at the crime scene, and you're gonna have to piece things together. You're gonna have to hack into the database of some secure system, and you're gonna have to find files. It's a lot of busy work, but it's the best detective simulator that I've seen so far.
Nice.
It's really interesting to see. Please
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say Alan Wake 2 has a pretty cool detective thing too. They kind of like tie it into the lore, because her heritage is kind of part like Viking something, but they kind of like tie it into like the way the story progresses. And she kind of has like a mode where it's cool because you can still get attacked. So I like that you can still get attacked. So you're only really going into this mode when you're in a safe space, and you can kind of like zone out and find a map and like piece together all your clues. So it's a really cool like way to, I guess, do like the detective work, but you have to do it like smart, like not in a battle mode.
And also,
Obviously.
I'm gonna throw that in Alan Wake 2. They have a great musical
Oh
segment.
God, it's beautiful.
Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. No
Yeah.
spoilers, but I'm telling you right now, if you really like Alan Wake, you're gonna love the musical.
I downloaded it on Spotify. It's on a playlist.
Yeah, I have it on my iPod. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
I
so
love
good.
that.
Herald of Darkness, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Anybody
I have
else
a
got
pet
pet peeves?
peeve. Yeah. I despise the normality of games being launched, not finished.
Oh,
my
I was
God,
gonna
yes.
say
Yes.
the fans kind of ruin it too by being like extra, like I want this now. It's like chill,
Yeah,
let
but
them
then
finish
I-
it.
I- Greed and play. That's 100% greed. Launching a game that's unfinished is like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, why? Like, if you, it's does that work in any other product? Can you buy a car and it'd be like, hey man, it's sort of not really finished. The tires are not on it. You can
Just
take
wait for
it
a couple
from the
brakes
episodes.
aren't
It'll
on
be
yet.
great. I
They're like, we'll
promise.
charge you, buy this DLC and then buy this DLC to fix that
Cy-
part, and then buy this to fix that part.
Yeah, Cyberpunk
Ah.
2077 did that in the most. I mean, it made a comeback also at the same time too. But I mean, seriously, they hyped up that game so much, and I bought two variations. I bought the Xbox version and the PS5 version when it came out, and then and then to find out that they had so many bugs, it was like, oh my god, I had to call an exterminator. There's two more. A lot of bugs on the thing. You know, even though it redeemed itself, but they should have just waited and let it cook more. Keep it in the oven a little bit longer.
So I agree on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say to that, Jamie. Sorry. The fact that they made it first person also. First person pissed me off because you have all these options to like create a character and all this for what? Like they should have a third person option.
Yes. Yes.
That pissed me off.
Wait.
Yes.
This is Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I didn't play Cyberpunk, and that actually that makes zero sense to me. Like, why would you that's
right?
To customize a character that you can't see.
I mean, they had The Witcher like that, so why not have Cyberpunk like that? I'm like, come on, you know, it turned me off. So, I mean, again, the only reason why I came back to Cyberpunk because they had Ildris come back and they did a whole spy style game. So I was like, okay. And it definitely won me over. So they made up for it. But one of those few RPG games for first person mode that I will ever play. And again, I don't want that to be a regular thing. I like third person.
I'm with Jamie though. Yeah, I'm with Jamie with the unfinished games. I was gonna say actually that to me is absolutely just a abysmal business practice. And you know, I get that you maybe want to do if you want to do a beta test or a beta launch, cool, great. Like I get it because you're testing it in a real world environment. But if you are ready to release the game as a whatever, don't do the dine and dash of like having the game launch unfinished, get as much money as you can on that release date, and then be like, oh, by the way, yeah, I mean, there's a whole mess of stuff that isn't going to work, right? But we'll fix it in a couple of months. Like that's not cool.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a little bit because I think, like, yes, I understand your argument based off of early access games, but I also think that it also has its place in the industry because, I absolutely hate it when like big companies do it, when you have like AAA titles that come out unfinished and then there's this big day one patch that you need to download and it's so annoying. Or they just fix everything later down the line, like maybe, I don't know, 2 years later, like Diablo 4, for example. But I do think that early access games can help the small developers when they need to understand how much funding they have at their disposal. It's like when you're a small dev, maybe you don't really know what you're doing. You just started. It's your first project. It's your first game. And you're going to go for the early access option because it's going to allow you to crowdfund some, potential revenue that is going to help you extend development in some way, shape, or form. I think it's good for the small devs.
But that's what I'm saying. That's I think that is 100% justifiable. I think the example we're bringing up is AAA games. We're talking about companies that do have the money and they're not actually
should know better.
Yeah, and should know.
Then
better.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Smaller companies, I agree with you too. If you're a smaller company and your funding is going to come by actually, launching it a little bit and sort of like getting your sea legs, cool. But when you're a AAA company and you're turning around talking about we're about to launch this game and then this game is half cooked, that's not a good experience, and it's not a good experience for the people playing it, and it's just it's going to turn people off from it.
My pet peeve is more in game, not so much money wise, but like I'm playing Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is my favorite video game, but like I'm playing Assassin's Creed again. My pet peeve is when you have to go in the tunnels and it takes you a half an hour to find your stuff in tunnels, and then it takes you 2 seconds to get out of the tunnel. Literally, there's like a, you know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying, right? It takes me like a half an hour to find what I'm looking for, and literally at the end of it, there's like a hole right there leading to the outside. So I don't know why they do stuff like that.
Convenience, shortcuts. You don't want to trek all the way back.
I could have just came that way to get in the first place.
Yeah.
No, because it was on a higher ledge that you couldn't reach before.
So if anyone has pet peeves like that in the games, I don't know.
No, I mean, I think in games it's exactly that. I think it depends on the developer and how they develop that sort of like rotation sort of system and camera angles and stuff like that. Because you're right, some of the games when they launch and they do have these weird sort of fixed camera angles and stuff like that, it is it's the most annoying thing when it comes to, like, for example, like if you have to jump on a ledge or you have to jump off of a ledge. You gotta angle the camera just right and get the person just right to jump off of that ledge so you don't go ahead and fall to your death. That part of it is actually, those are things that I think actually probably could be fine-tuned. And it's a hard needle to thread, because I imagine that in a game where you are supposed to have, like, an open world game where you're supposed to be able to do whatever you want. I think as gamers, we also want some kind of safety. So you don't want to just fall off of any ledge. You want some kind of parameters to sort of say, hey, you can't fall off this ledge. But at the same time, you also want the freedom to be like, but maybe I do want to fall off of that ledge. I want to be able to. So that's a hard needle to thread in that regard.
My next question would be, if there's one franchise that you could play for the rest of your life, you could only choose one, what would it be?
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, Jamie?
Probably Final Fantasy.
Okay, Smoke's busy. Vlad?
I would also go with Final Fantasy, specifically 14, because it's an MMO and it gets updates. So I'm kind of cheating here.
Fair.
Hey, Dom?
Yes, Cosmo. Exactly.
Hey, guys, I gotta break out. So I'm gonna thank you all for having me on. I have to take care of some other business real quick. But
all right, Smoke.
Again, thank you all for having me on. It was great talking.
Being with us, Smoke.
Man,
love you, man.
I cannot wait to talk more about this. I got to have you guys on our show as well. Again, great conversation, guys. I cannot wait to make sure you guys share. Make sure you guys out there, please share this and give us your input, because we would love to hear what you think and would tell us your top 10.
That's right.
Again, thank you all. Continue on. I will carry on the torch, and as we do in Hell Diving, for democracy.
For democracy.
All right, so take it easy.
All right, thank you for having me. I'll see you guys.
Take care.
See you, man.
Later.
So, Myers, what game would you choose for if you had to choose one?
I'm gonna be boring. I'm gonna say Mario, just because I don't have to stress. I can just kick back, relax, and enjoy. I'm never gonna struggle too much. It's just gonna be nice and fun.
Nice. Assassin's Creed would be mine too, Cosmo.
I'm a little torn. I'm a little torn, because there's a part of me, like, if it's one franchise I have to play for the rest of my life, I'd like to be able to, because me personally, I like single campaign games. It's a little hard not to eventually get to a point where you'd be like, okay, I played this thing over and over and over, and not have replayability. With that said, I think actually the one that would probably give me the most bang for my buck might be Castlevania, just because there's so many already in that franchise, and there's a variety of different types actually. Like there's even a fighting game, so I can get a little bit of fighting. I can get a little bit of 2D side-scrolling platforming. I can get actually a God of War type of game. I can get Kid Dracula, which is another like a little fun franchisey one. So I think actually that would give me the most bang for my buck, where I could say, hey, I wouldn't completely tire out from it. So that would be Castlevania.
Nice. All right, so we got 4 more games to go. Are we gonna address the Mario situation, or are we putting Mario number 1?
I think Mario's number 11, in my opinion.
Do you guys think Mario or Sonic?
I personally like Sonic.
I personally like Sonic.
Yeah, but I mean, cultural impact, all that stuff. I think
Mario would be number 1, because unfortunately Sonic has too many bad games, and that's the disappointing part. Is a mascot great, but that's what I'm saying. I would almost make more an argument for Link than I would actually for Sonic, just because of that. Because I think actually, especially the last several games in the Zelda franchise, I think you can potentially sort of make an argument, but it's like comparing Batman and Superman. It really,
But I feel on a global scale, Mario might be more.
Oh yeah, Mario internationally.
So I feel I think it's number one. What do you guys think? I mean, I personally I don't want to put it on number one, but
I
you know what
think
mean?
it has
That's
to.
where I am.
I think we have to.
I don't agree with the number one. I think that something else is much more. At the very least, God of War deserves that spot.
Yeah, I think God of War.
At least with Ragnarok, that's just like a masterpiece.
But
God of War,
you
of
think
gaming.
God of War has
GTA.
more cultural impact than Mario though?
No.
I wouldn't say that.
With
Cultural
come on.
impact, no.
Without
Cultural
Mario,
impact, no.
without Mario, we don't get Donkey Kong, we don't get Smash, we don't get Mario Kart, we don't get Luigi's Mansion, we don't get Paper Mario. Like, it's got too many franchises that offshoot from it.
It is. It's unfortunately the godfather of the.
Yeah,
of the
no, I
gaming
do
world,
understand what
so-
you're saying, Vlad. Like I
Oh,
personally
I'm sorry.
wouldn't put it, but
I got it. I got number one right now. Frogger. Put Frogger number one. That's it.
No.
There we go.
A frog.
End
That's
the
it.
episode.
That's it. Shut it down. Shut it down.
Funny,
Yeah,
generationally, I think I grew up more on like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. I freaking love
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot.
Spyro.
So that would be up there for me personally, Crash Bandicoot. But I think back to Mario that has a bigger cultural impact because like Crash, maybe for like us growing up, like that to me was like the face of PlayStation. To how like Mario was Nintendo, Sonic was Sega. It was kind of like the face of PlayStation at that time in the early 90s. So for me, it would be Crash. But I think Mario is a little more relevant because even the like, I think they tried like a Crash re thing, and I played it and I still enjoyed it. But I think Mario is better in replayability and more worldwide, if that makes sense.
So let me do this. How about this? I think actually Mario is a cheat if I'm being honest, because of all the things that Meyer said. It is actually the blood pump that pumps the blood through the veins of video games. So I don't think that's number one. Would be sort of like it's a cheat. I think actually, if anything else, we can say, hey, yes, we acknowledge Mario, but let's talk about everything after that.
Yeah.
Let's see what's everything after that we can say these are like the top 10 ones.
So pretty much what you're saying is Mario is too good for the list.
Mario is too good for the list, unfortunately. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
that's,
what about the first Prince of Persia then? Back in the MS-DOS days.
If we're
Ooh,
talking about it
Star
as a
Fox.
franchise, if we're talking about it as a franchise, unfortunately, no. I don't think it has.
I love Star Fox.
Yeah, I love Star Fox too. But
Yeah, I don't think it's a franchise,
similarly, I think they sort of had a cultural sort of like touchstone, and their relevance has sort of waned a little bit. Like I'd be hard pressed to think that you can find a modern gamer that and when I say modern gamer, I mean like actually somebody that didn't play the original one or the original DOS one, or even actually the PlayStation and Xbox ones, that would be like, oh, Prince of Persia. Like it's like
I agree.
I would almost even, I hate to say it, almost even Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is it could be on this list, but
okay, for Tomb Raider, we're putting Tomb Raider and Uncharted on the same. Which one are we choosing?
Personally, I would say
hard.
Uncharted, but that's a hard one.
Yeah, the only reason I think it's hard is because you wouldn't have Uncharted without Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
But
Right,
Uncharted, I would say, is the better franchise.
I agree.
agreed. I think actually I would agree with that. A lot of teenage boys in the PlayStation days would disagree, but I mean that's a totally different conversation.
I think if the new Tomb Raiders for 3, 4, and 5 did better than they did, I think that'd be a different conversation. But I think Uncharted 1, 2, 3, 4, they're solid all across the board.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
I think
So
Uncharted's worthy for 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
I could begrudgingly agree. I don't. Uncharted's not for me. I played the first one and it just didn't like grab my attention, and I just sort of like was like, okay. It was the same thing with Assassin's Creed.
The storyline is so good in that game. The cinematography is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I remember of the games. The same thing with Assassin's Creed. It just for whatever reason didn't resonate with me. It's one of those weird things where it was like I knew it was popular. It was in my wheelhouse of like sort of like games that I like. For whatever reason, it just didn't stick with me. I played it for a little bit and I was like, yeah, I don't want.
I did that with Assassin's Creed. To be honest with you, the first Assassin's Creed,
Yeah.
I didn't like it. Like it was so confusing to play. But then a few years after, I think I played the Ezio collection, and then I'm like, oh shit, this is so amazing. So I went back and played the first one, right? So now I'm hooked. But yeah, give it another try. Yeah, maybe you might.
I might. Like I said, it's if it's in my sweet spot. So yeah, I mean, it's action adventure. It's got the things, all the things.
It's very historic too. So it's pretty cool. If you're
wait, I have to learn history too. I'm out.
They do like have some, yeah.
I'm out. You had me good, but then you told me about that I have to like be involved in historical events. Nah, man, forget that. Now you're trying to spoon feed me education. Forget you. No, I refuse.
Top 3 is gonna be really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, for argument's sake, we might have to go through Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken battle.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
So before you jumped on, we
I completely forgot about those.
That's gonna be its own. That has to be its own list.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I disagree. Because I like MK more than I do like.
I think Mortal Kombat
Street
should be
Fighter.
on this list.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah, MK,
I think for
MK.
cultural relevance, Mortal Kombat definitely is it.
I said we take out the sports games and put MK at 10.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I think
do
so.
that.
I think so.
I
too.
honestly think that if we're talking about fighting games, Mortal Kombat had some historical impact, but I would say that right now the culture itself is centered around Street Fighter and Tekken, and it's been centered around as the main fighting games for the past.
That's one thing. It should be its own list because I think actually if you're a Street Fighter head, that you're gonna fight. No pun intended, to say that Street Fighter is the game and Mortal Kombat is, and I think both of them have a valid argument. Like, I mean, they're tournaments dedicated just to Street Fighter, and they build
exactly.
If anyone's watching, I want to know what everyone thinks: Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Comment below.
I would also argue that Mortal Kombat's a very Western look at fighting games. I don't think in other countries it's quite as relevant as Street Fighter or Tekken are.
That's a good argument.
Point.
Yeah.
So maybe even Street Fighter solid. Then. That is solid.
Street
This
Fighter.
is tough.
I was gonna go with maybe something like the Injustice.
I love Injustice, man. I love Injustice.
Okay, so Assassin's
Actually,
Creed.
that was a good story.
I want to see if everyone likes Assassin's Creed as well, because if you guys don't put it in here, I'm going to be upset.
I
liked it all the way up to Revelation.
I would say replace rhythm games with Assassin's Creed, but that's me.
I would agree with that actually.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
So we're gonna have an honorable mention section.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Fair
can.
enough.
We can move that to honorable mention. But yeah, rhythm games, you can put Assassin's Creed.
There's too many that gotta go on here.
Yeah.
So if we're narrowing down to the top 3, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that again, this is not my cup of tea. It's not my thing, but recognized game. Zelda's got to be there in the.
So I'm putting
top.
Zelda in honorable.
Yeah.
You put it in honorable. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you want it in top 3? You think God of War?
GTA.
God of War.
Yeah. Let me see what else is on the list.
Well, yeah.
I'm actually kind of scared to basically say these words, but if we're going after popularity and how much it changed culture in the last 4 years, I would say, oh my God, Genshin Impact.
No.
Yeah.
I would actually. I would.
But it's more of
I would
online.
argue.
It's more online, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would argue.
I mean, did it always
actually-
matter?
Well, it has to be like a franchise. It has to be.
Fair enough.
I would almost argue actually that you can make the same argument for something like Tetris.
Yeah. True.
I would
Yeah,
say Tetris
you know,
is
you
the
have
same
a
as
point, you have a
Mario, where it's like
They're in the same. Yeah. So I will put it up here.
Galaga.
There's going to be a lot of honorable mentions.
Anyone play Far Cry? No.
Yeah.
I did, yes.
I do. I would not put it in my top 10.
Surprisingly, most people like Far Cry 3 a lot, but I was more of a Far Cry 6 guy. Was that the one with the American setting? Because I don't recall. I love that one a lot because it had a really good villain, I think.
You're talking about the church one, right?
Yes,
Cry
yes, that
5.
one.
Oh, okay.
5, yeah.
That was 5. Okay.
6 was Giancarlo
Yeah.
Esposito.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So we're putting God of War where on this list?
God of War. As much as I'd love to say number one, for me, I feel like there's probably other games that have.
What tops that?
What tops God of War? I mean, again, not personally for me, but I mean, you put them in honorable mentions. Like Zelda was one. If GTA, like I think
gotta be
actually,
there.
Big one. If we're talking about cultural influence and lasting, GTA has to be talked about.
Yeah,
it hasn't even dropped a new game in like 10 years, and it's still relevant.
Yeah, but isn't it relevant because of the RP potential?
Same thing
because you're going online, role playing and stuff.
Yeah, it's the same thing like with like.
Wait, guys, we didn't even put Red Dead Redemption on here.
Oh, we did talk about that.
Oh boy,
Red Dead Redemption.
Damn.
I don't know, because before we made the argument of between GTA and Red Dead, and while I think Red Dead is a better game, if we're talking about cultural relevance, GTA is definitely more.
I would agree. I hate it. I hate it in my bones. But yes, unfortunately, Red Dead is the just GTA franchise because because it influenced and actually and fairness to them, it influenced other games like obviously like Saints Row and what was the other franchise that was similar to GTA? I know there was Saints Row and there was another one that was also pretty popular.
Sleeping Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs. Yeah.
Yakuza, I don't know if Yakuza came out before that.
The Yakuza games also were influenced by GTA. So, yeah, all of those I would say, it's. I feel. Oh, hold on a second. I'm gonna. GTA.
You okay? Has anyone mentioned?
Take a breather.
I know it won't top this list, but did anyone mention the James Bond games?
No, actually,
the only one I really liked was the one on N64. To be honest,
those were banging. Yeah. But GTA obviously is way better, and Max Payne, all those I think are just like classics, but GTA tops them.
Okay, I'm gonna mention something because I think we kind of forgot about this. Where do we put the Soul series?
Oh,
like Soul Reaver?
No, like Dark Souls,
like Dark Souls, and see, like I feel like that again.
Souls, Elden Ring.
That's. I feel like there's so many of them, and there's so many in not only varying qualities, but so many that bring different things to it that it's almost hard to say. Like you could say Dark Souls the same way as you could say Bloodborne, the same way as you could say
Resident Evil?
Elden Ring.
No, the one that actually the ninja one. Somebody mentioned it earlier.
Sekiro.
So like which one is better? Like they're all like I think actually that level. So it's hard to just sort of like I think that should be its own. It really should be its own list. Like we could try to add it, but I don't know. It's gonna be tough.
Are there any horror fanatics here that only play like predominantly horror games?
Oh, we don't have any horror games on here.
Because I was like Resident Evil.
Res would definitely be one.
Resident Evil, I think, actually deserves to be on there. Resident Evil is.
But I don't think at 2 though. So
not at 2.
We'd have to move something around.
But the remakes have been like freaking absolutely.
Well, let's
incredible.
do this. You can shift actually stuff up if you want, and actually stick it in somewhere.
What do you guys want to move for that? I agree that Resident Evil needs to be on here.
I say Resident Evil. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jamie. Go ahead.
4?
I would say 4. To me, and this is just me personally, I would put Batman lower or Metal Gear lower.
Like towards the top? Like towards 1?
No.
Like,
you mean like
yes. I agree too.
I disagree.
I think I don't know. That's personally though. I like Uncharted more than Metal Gear, but
I think actually that I think if you sandwiched in between those Metal Gear and like Uncharted, you want to go ahead and stick in a Resi right there. That's perfectly fine. Because I will remind you, this is going to be my argument. I do like Resident Evil. It's not any hate. I haven't played every single game in the franchise, but I played a pretty good amount of the games in the franchise. And I will tell you, actually, nothing beats there's nothing at a peak of gaming like seeing a guy punch a boulder out of the way.
That's my only complaint. I think it was RE5. Chris is like, huh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I? So you don't want me to mention RE6? You don't want me to say anything about that?
6 doesn't
we
exist.
Can go there. We
6
can go
doesn't
there.
exist.
Exactly.
Just forget 6
exactly.
ever happened.
Yeah.
It'll happen soon.
7 made up for it.
RE6. Well, no, and that's the thing. Actually, you're right. Actually, now that I'm thinking about the first-person shooter ones, and those actually brought it back to a pretty good standing.
So what are we moving? What do you guys want to move? Metal Gear?
Maybe move Metal Gear to 4?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Metal Gear to 4.
Because Metal Gear Solid 4 alone is like.
Where's Batman going?
Batman needs to stay in the top 5.
Yeah,
Batman
sure.
needs to stay.
I think GTA probably would have to go to 2.
I think that's what I'm saying. Shift
Yeah.
it. If you shift it up,
if you shift, it's good.
You could shift all of it
I'll
up.
put GTA at 2, yeah. I think a lot of people still play GTA, so.
Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
When you have a game that's on 3 different console generations, people play it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
I think Resident Evil is higher than Metal Gear. What do you guys think?
That's fine. I'm
I
good
agree.
with that.
Yeah,
I
be
would,
fine
I would
with that.
agree with that. I think actually, yeah. I think Metal Gear, as much as I love that franchise, I also understand that it is a very specific kind of like gaming. Whereas Resident Evil, I think Resident Evil, they've done at varying sort of degrees, they've done a better job of transitioning it from horror to action horror, then back to horror. Like they tried to dabble a little bit to bring more people in.
And even doing first person, which I'm not typically like the biggest fan of first person, I absolutely loved playing Resident Evil in first person. It kind of worked.
I'm gonna change this so it doesn't look so bad. Because I can't have Mario as an honorable mention.
That makes sense.
Using the
Too
same
good,
argument.
You got to put them in too good for this list.
Too good.
They too good.
And we'll save you typing. We'll just put Smash Bro characters because that kind of it's kind of everybody.
It's true. You're right. There you go.
Using the same argument we had for GTA, what would you do with the Elder Scrolls series? Because you have Skyrim releasing and re-releasing on so many consoles, so many versions. It's insane.
Whew. There's so many games.
There's
Number
so
one-
many, and not only that, but also I think that when it comes to like the Elder Scrolls games, and even I would actually say Warhammer, Warcraft, like they're God, I mean, like they are influential. But I feel like they also are more niche, nerd niche. Like what are like of all the ones that we have here on this list so far, I think have had broad appeal. Like I can't look at any of these and not say, hey, I know somebody that either loves this game or loves these games, regardless of them being a gamer. Whereas Skyrim, it could sort of fall more in the nerdy category of, and I say that as a nerd. I'm recognizing that I am a nerd as well. So that's where I would say. But obviously, you guys.
I think there's only one possible answer for number one, and I think we know what that is.
God of War.
Do tell. I'm okay with that. I completely agree.
As much
Everyone
as I love
else?
God of War, I would argue that the number one spot should go to Castlevania. I'm just kidding.
Everyone agree to God of War?
God of War.
God of
Yes.
War. Yes.
I could do it.
God
Yeah.
of
Boy.
War.
Yeah,
God of War did it.
I personally like Thing better, but I mean I'll do it. Assassin's Creed better, but I'll do it.
God of War is I mean you can't I mean I don't know about any of you guys, but I judge a lot of games. The one franchise that's not here that I can say made me feel the feels is God of War is one of them, and Red Dead Redemption is the others.
Oh
Like,
yeah, 100%.
I remember ending those games and being like, "You."
I think we need to lump GTA and Red Dead at number 2. As Rockstar.
I'm good with that. I'm good with
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Yeah, I could do that.
Because Red Dead is, man, you can't. If you didn't squeak out a tear, man, you just a heartless mother. Those games are like, man. Those are they're tear jerkers.
What's one game that you wish became a franchise but never did?
It's not yet, but Last of Us.
Yeah,
That's
we're
my
getting
ultimate number one game
of
ever.
all time.
That's your favorite game of all time?
Absolutely. You can't see it on screen, but I have a big collection up there. My favorite game ever.
I agree with you. I've played it like 5 times on every platform.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I would say The Outer Wilds, if anyone's played that. It's a single game.
I've wanted to play it. I've wanted to play it. I haven't played it yet.
You listen. Okay, I'm gonna make a small story. It is not a game. It is an experience. You need to go in blind as much as possible because the more you know about the game, the less of a good experience you're gonna have. The experience is in just playing it and understanding the world that you are in. Like me and a couple of friends played it. We loved it so much, and we were hoping that this is one of those games we would like to forget so we can experience it all over again.
Wow.
Well, funnily or sadly enough, one of my friends suffered a amnesia episode. They lost quite a bit of their memory. Part of which was this game as well. So it was such a powerful experience for all of us. Like, it brought us closer as friends, and we got him to replay it. And it was basically, for the first time, I think somebody actually got the chance to live out the idea of, I just want to forget and replay it again. And we were there with him, like, for the entire playthrough. It was amazing to see him go through all of this again, having those same emotions and experiences and absolute revelations. I highly recommend Outer Wilds to whoever hasn't played it. It is an experience and a half.
That's awesome. I mean, that's high praise. I'm down with it. I'm down with it. I wish, if to answer that question, which one? Hollow Knight. Like, I've not played a game in recent history that has been so just such a joy to play. Like, actually, like it spikes in difficulty as you go, but it is not so hard that you can't it has a pretty decent entry level. Like, I wouldn't recommend any Souls game or any Souls type, and Hollow Knight I feel like is more in the more tame Souls type of situation, except for when you get to like the arenas and stuff like that. Then that's a different level. But Hollow Knight is just, Team Cherry did such an amazing job with that game that I really, really hope that they do more stuff, because it's so cool. And similar to what Vlad and I talked about with Legacy of Kain, it's such a rich like story, like the way they built it and stuff like that. Like that always hits a sweet spot for me. Is like, if you can create a world that's so like dense, but yet still so very like charming and wanting to bring you in, it's always cool. And it's not all like everything is gloom and doom kind of stuff, which is really also really, really nice. And the soundtrack is absolutely amazing.
Myers?
I agree. Hey, Silksong is going to come out soon, hopefully in a few years.
I know. Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna be waiting. Actually, I'm gonna be like 87 years old, and they're gonna be like, and Silksong is out, and I'm gonna be like,
No, you're gonna be 80, and they're still gonna be like, "Hey, it's gonna come out soon, guys. It's gonna come out soon."
But actually, and I do want to add one editorial to that, even though it is already a franchise. I'm with Vlad as well. If they can just, I don't know. I think Amy Henning was actually who actually ran the Uncharted series. She actually was the one who was the director of developing over
Yes,
Legacy of Kain series. I don't know what strings they need to pull, but they need to bring that franchise back. They really do. That was such a good franchise. My gosh, it was so freaking good. They need to. I don't know who I need to write to Congress to or something, but somebody needs to bring me that franchise back. And if, again, I cannot, to anybody who's watching, everybody that's here, if you have not played that game, I highly recommend it. Or if nothing else, if you don't want to consume that much time, just look up YouTube videos on like the story, and it lends itself to a great like long form story, like a long form either series or something like that. It is so fucking good.
You're actually watching a movie if you do that, and it's actually a really
Yes.
good experience.
It is.
Also, you're still too polite. You're still too polite. You still have some of your sanity. I have lost all of my sanity. I don't need to write to Congress. I'm already asking who do I need to throttle to make this happen, okay? I have lost all of my sanity, all of my patience.
Vlad, you and I are we are gonna be thick as thieves, man. We are like Versace tight.
Hey, looking forward to it.
Have
Anyone
any
else?
of you? Oh, I was just gonna say real quick. Any of you played any of the Telltale games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna
Yes.
say,
All of
Jamie,
them.
if you like Last of Us, you would probably love the Walking Dead games.
Oh,
Walking
cried
Dead
so
games.
much in the first season.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, yeah, if you like trauma, yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
Love it.
It was beautiful.
By all
Like it.
means. Those real hard choices that you're just sort of like, you thank God when you turn off that game, you're like, thank God I don't have to make these choices in real life.
The same thing. I love Quantic games, Quantic Dream, like
Yes.
Detroit Become Human.
Yes.
all of
Oh,
those.
yes.
Mm.
The Indigo Prophecy, or Fahrenheit as it's known.
Mhm.
That was a good one.
What was the other one with the dad that kept on waking up in the middle of the road?
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain,
yeah,
Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really good.
You know, another
Wow.
one we didn't mention that wasn't that I wouldn't put it in the top 10 because I think actually, unfortunately, it has worse games than it has. Like, its height was unfortunately number 2, but then after that it sort of was like whatever. Is Silent Hill. Silent Hill
yeah.
actually was
Mm.
one that I think did such a good, creepy, very like immersive, like you felt, for lack of a better way of putting it, it's one of those games where you play it and you feel disgusting, like you want to wash off after you're playing it, because you're just sort of like, there's a lot of like the visuals and stuff like that, and the griminess, and sort of like makes you feel like, and I thought I appreciated it because when Silent Hill 1 came out, it was right around the time I think Resident Evil 2 had come out, or right before Resident Evil, because Resident Evil had already come out. So it was interesting seeing that side of horror, where you had horror on this side, which was very much you had survival horror for this specific type of thing, and then you have sort of survival psychological horror on this side. And that was an experience. And obviously, the part 2 is being remade. It's
Yeah,
about
I'm
to,
excited.
yeah.
I feel like a
Wasn't-
lot of people are going to be upset we don't have Fallout on here as well.
Fallout falls under the same category as the Elder Scrolls, doesn't it? Kinda.
I feel that way too. I feel like that's actually, yeah.
I would say.
Anyone else has a franchise they want to see?
Jamie, did you play? Well, for everyone, but I feel like in horror and like story driven. If you played The Evil Within, I'm freaking obsessed with those games. I'm mad because I think that's one of the studios that just closed down because they don't want to freaking pay people.
Yeah.
But man, The Evil Within was crazy. It was super like psychological but creepy and action. I loved it.
Going back to Silent Hill for a second, I'm almost confident that if Silent Hills was made, like PT,
Yeah.
Oh my God,
so
yes.
certain that Silent Hill would have had a resurgence.
yeah.
So what is PT, Jamie?
PT was the playable trailer for Silent
Oh,
Hills.
boy.
Yeah,
before-
because I had it on PS4 and my stupid ass went and deleted it.
Oh,
And I
Oh,
couldn't
you
get
could
it
have made a
again.
ton of money with that.
Oh,
I
man.
Yeah, I
just
couldn't
posted
get it
that
back
I
yet.
didn't sell my PS4. I still freaking have it just for that damn demo.
Yeah, you can still play it, right? But I can't
Yeah.
download it again. It's gone. So
Right.
Like I have friends that like haven't gotten to play it. Like I'll have them come over and watch their experience and like freak them
You
out.
gotta
it's
figure
so
you gotta
good.
figure out a way to like take that from that hard
Oh,
drive and like
You
duplicate
froze- you
bank,
froze for
just
us.
bank,
Has anyone-
just-
you froze there for a sec, Dom.
Oh, did I? Oh crap!
Yeah.
Look at that. I was just saying actually that you need to find a way to take that out of the hard drive or replicate into another hard drive, like sort of like figure out a way to save it into different hard drives, and then just sit back and watch the money roll in.
Have you guys played the Dark Pictures anthology or no?
Oh yeah,
I know of it, yeah.
Like Until Dawn, like all of those.
Oh, Until Dawn,
Yeah.
yes.
Those are.
But
really
those are
good.
like more interactive movies than anything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the same sense as Fahrenheit, Beyond Two Souls, and Heavy Rain.
Right.
Yeah.
But what surprised me as a horror game, because I also see it mentioned in the comments as well, has anyone tried out Subnautica?
Nope.
I've heard
What's
of it.
this?
No.
I've also heard
It
of it.
is-
But I've never.
It was I was like thinking I was buying a game where I'm gonna chill and I'm just gonna like build stuff underwater because that sounded like really cool. But in fact, it's a horror game in disguise because you are stranded on a planet that's all water, and the only way to go is down, and you find
Oh.
some things in the deep,
Mm.
and it is so terrifying.
Tony, I just thought of another list that actually, if we ever do another episode of this, we need to do an episode of indie games. Just what are the best indie games, like hidden treasures?
Top 10 indie
and
games?
stuff like
Okay. Yeah,
Top
let's
10
do it.
indie games, because I could tell you that there's a lot of stuff that are very like they're hidden gems. They're just and they should get their shine. They should get like their props because there's so much good stuff out there that people don't know about, because again, you got these big AAA games that do have the money to market it and go to like San Diego and market their stuff and all that, but then you have these other smaller games that are just like really good and really well developed and that don't get like the recognition they should.
Yeah, that's
At least
true.
I don't think so.
I've got a pretty good list of indies that I could.
Has anyone ever played Dante's Inferno?
Love
Yes.
it.
Yes.
That would be the game that I wanted to see become a franchise, but
You want to see more Devil Dong? That's that game is famous just for that. I'm sorry, just for the kids that are actually still watching. Kids, Dong is an ear. That's what it is. It's just the devil has a really big long ear in the game. Very.
That
long
was
ear.
a game created during the time where people weren't really afraid to put mature themes in their games.
Right.
And they were really okay with showing like the ugliness of humanity, like the worst of what humanity has to offer.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think we need more of that because they serve as good moral lessons as to what not to become.
yeah.
Like they can serve to show people that yes, there are bad people in the world, but we can be better.
Yeah.
I like
And that's
that.
a good way to end the podcast, guys.
Woo! We did it.
Love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We actually we figured it out, and we didn't even have to add like BioShock in there or nothing. We did it, or Gears of War or nothing. We didn't have to add any of that stuff.
Yeah,
That's gonna piss off a lot of people.
That's an entire discussion in and of itself.
No, we should do like a gaming discussion. I mean, without a list.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
actually, I think
Yeah,
well,
just
no,
a
I
gaming
think we
stuff.
still should do a top 10 like indie games because I
Indie
think
game,
again,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
just to do like have people discover stuff, because again, that list that you're talking about, Vlad, I would love to hear like the stuff that you have. Everybody's
Let's
list.
go.
I'd love to hear that. Hey, these
All
are
right.
games that I wanna play and that are really cool and and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll organize a day and then get on here and do it again.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
I want to thank everyone for coming. You guys want to go and plug your social medias and stuff before we get off? Vlad?
Sure.
Twitch?
Like you can find me basically. I'm streaming on Twitch at Vincent with a Y _Remethar. Or you can find me on Twitter or X as it's called now at Vincent Remethar without the underscore. But yeah, I also have a YouTube channel with the same name. I'm still at amateur level. I'm trying to learn, but if you want to come, hang out, watch me play some games, be my guest.
Awesome. Dom, what's
Well,
your Twitch channel?
Twitch is Dominican Night. If you look Dominican Night up anywhere, that's probably me. And then so anywhere you look that up, you're gonna find YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. The one place I'm not, Tickety Talk. Other than that, you can find me everywhere else.
Myers?
Myers Corp Cosplay on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. My podcast every Monday Night Nerd. We talk about nerdy stuff. I have guests on. If you're in the Southern Ontario area, I'm at a bunch of conventions this year. We've got Forest City Comic Con in London tomorrow or Sunday, and then the big one, Fan Expo in Toronto this August. See you all there.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
Jamie?
I am Jamie Bear Fancy Pants on everything: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I am starting to stream a lot more on TikTok. A lot of random games for now. It's a little hard to keep track of the chat and a game at the same time. I'm learning, but we're trying. And then I'm a cosplayer too, so I'm at so many conventions. Next week we have Too Many Games in Oaks, PA, and then Contropolis in New Jersey in July.
Nice.
Awesome. And then Gotham Geek.
Hey, Gotham Geek Girl. I am a journalist / podcaster. You can find me on everything, Gotham Geek Girl, mostly on YouTube. I actually don't stream. Gaming is my escape, and it's my peace of mind. So I like to keep gaming for myself. Also, I curse too much. I have one TikTok video where I posted me playing Resident Evil, and the Brooklyn really comes out of me. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm like screaming while I'm playing. I was like, I absolutely cannot stream. But yeah, gaming is for me. But you can find my interviews and all my other stuff on YouTube and GothamGeekGirl.com.
Gotham Geek Girl, I'm going to tell you right now that actually you are missing out on a huge probably market of people that would love to just watch.
I was going to say that.
You don't have to respond. Look, this is the thing. You just set a camera up and you play your game as if you normally play it and curse, and you will have people be like, this is the best thing ever. This is the greatest thing ever.
I get too in my head with outside stuff, so I guess I'll ask you guys for advice on that.
That's what I'm saying. We'll set up here's what we'll do. We'll set up a camera. You won't even know it's there. And then actually, no, that's completely creepy. No, forget that. Forget that idea. Scratch it.
All right, everyone. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. Until the next one, hope you guys have a great weekend. And take care.
Thanks. That was fun.
Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Thanks. That was really fun.
Sorry I was late.
If you're watching this episode on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Comment below on what topics you would like to see us cover on future podcast episodes. Also, all episodes are available in audio format on all major podcast platforms. Thank you for tuning in.